Hey guys, it's Chris, and today I'll be doing a follow-up video talking about the nerf or removal of the Infinite Invincibility strategy and the relevant patch notes. Let's start with the patch notes. Thank you for playing Action Taimanin. The following is a pre-notice for changes including supporter balance adjustments that will be applied after the scheduled maintenance on May 6, 2024. 1. Supporter UR Torajiro. So these are the stats before the May 6th patch, and these are the stats after the May 6th patch. The supporter UR Torajiro had been favored by many commanders due to her remarkable utility. However, we adjusted some of her skills because she had been more effective than she was designed to be. So we'll talk about these changes in a sec, but now for the second part, there will be a change to the defense stat. So no one knows for sure how much this change will affect the game. Some people in the Action Taimanin Discord theorize that HP builds and HP Magatamas will be more useful than defense builds and defensive Magatamas now, but we'll have to wait and see once the patch drops. But for the Torajiro supporter changes, I've summarized it here in this image. On the left, this is the current version of the Torajiro supporter, which is what we have right now in game. This is before May 6, 2024. On the right, this is what the Torajiro supporter will look like after the May 6 patch. The most notable changes are 1. After the May 6 patch, you get a 30% damage increase at S level 5, whereas before you didn't get any damage increase. 2. The buff duration extension is now a main passive effect instead of a sub-passive effect. So that means after the May 6 patch, to extend the duration of a buff, you need to put Torajiro in your main supporter slot. If you have Torajiro in a sub-supporter slot, you'll only get this effect up here, which is the 30% damage increase. Also, this extends the duration of one buff instead of two buffs. And the last change is that instead of any melee attack to increase the duration of a buff, it's now only basic melee attacks. As you can see, these changes were made specifically to remove the Infinite Invincibility strategy. However, right now there are two ways of getting Infinite Invincibility. I'm going to call them Method 1 and Method 2. The first way is what I showed in my other video, the Infinite Invincibility strategy video. Link is in the description if you haven't seen it. And that is where you have an invincibility supporter in your main supporter slot, and then Torajiro in a sub-supporter slot like this. And then at the start of the fight, you would use your invincibility supporters active to gain the invincibility buff, and then your melee attacks would extend the duration of the buff because of the Torajiro supporter. So this is the first way, this is Method 1. The second way is to use the Lionheart SR weapon and have either Halloween Sakura supporter or the Torajiro supporter in your main supporter slot. Here I'm using Torajiro because I don't have a Halloween Sakura. What you would then do is firstly kill an enemy and hope it drops a Valiant Heart. If the enemy does drop a Valiant Heart, you would then pick it up and that gives you the invincibility buff. From that point onwards, you would then keep using basic melee attacks to extend the duration of the buff because of the Halloween Sakura or the Torajiro supporter in your main supporter slot. And this is the second way of getting Infinite Invincibility, which I'm calling Method 2. Now as you can probably tell, Method 1 is a lot better than Method 2 because of several reasons. With Method 1, you can use it on many different characters and still be successful as long as that character does a lot of multi-hit melee attacks. In comparison, Method 2 forces you to play either Sakura or Hebiko because only those two characters can use the Lionheart SR weapon. So Method 2 is a lot more restrictive in terms of character choice. The second reason why Method 1 is better is because you do not have to use an SR weapon as your main weapon. As you can see here, Rin is using a UR weapon, which allows you to do a lot more damage compared to if you're using an SR weapon. And the third reason why Method 1 is better is because it allows you to have Infinite Invincibility right at the beginning of the fight. As soon as the fight begins, you use your invincibility supporters active and then keep attacking. From that point onwards, you have Infinite Invincibility for the entire fight. With Method 2, you first need to kill an enemy to get invincibility. So with Method 2, you don't have Infinite Invincibility right from the start, unlike Method 1. But now that doesn't matter as much because on May 6, 2024, Method 1 is getting patched out. The changes to the Torajiro supporter will make it so that Method 1 no longer works. However, Method 2 will still work even after the May 6 patch, and that's what I'll show now. So Method 2 is nothing new. People have been using Method 2 for years now, ever since the Halloween Sakura supporter was released. Other YouTubers have also made videos about this method, and many people have discussed it on the Taimanin Discords. But here it is. So firstly you need to kill an enemy, and then there is a 50% chance that the enemy drops a Valiant Heart. The Valiant Heart looks like a blue crystal. So there it is. I'm trying to run around and show it while the enemy smacks me in the face. Once you pick up the Valiant Heart, it gives you the invincibility buff. You then keep using your basic attack, which extends the duration of the buff because of your Halloween Sakura or Torajiro support in your main support slot. One thing to note is that after the May 6 patch, only your basic attacks will extend the duration of the buff, regardless of if you use Halloween Sakura or Torajiro. One last thing before I end the video, be sure to get all the rewards from the Torajiro event that is ending soon. For me it ends on April 30, if you're in the US it might end one day sooner, so be sure to check in game when it ends for you. And of course get all the rewards, so go to at least box 11, so that way you get all 5 copies of the Torajiro supporter, as well as the crystal kit. If you miss this event, don't worry, it'll probably repeat 1 or 2 years from now, but try not to miss this as much as possible. And that is it for the video. If you guys like this, take 2 seconds to hit that like button. If you want to see more content from me, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.